all the deaths seen in Teen Titans Go. Enjoy!
Ya llegamos.
Y esto es...
Al Preli. Let's begin with the episode you probably had already in mind, Ghost Boy. Here, Beast Boy is up to his usual pranks, much to the annoyance of his fellow Titans. Tired of his shenanigans, they decide to turn the tables on him by tricking him into thinking that he died. But as things unfold, the outcome proves to be far from what they anticipated, as everyone ends up dead.
He was so ugly that everyone died. The end.
This is one of the most interesting parts of this list, because it's not just one death, nor two or three, but of every Titan. And to be honest, it looks like all of them suffered. Anyway, let's get back to the list.
Once Beast Boy realizes he's dead and nothing can happen to him, he goes to a volcano to realize his dream, jumping inside of it. The Titans chase him there to try to stop him, because if he jumps, well, he's toast.
On their way to the peak of the volcano, the Titans face various obstacles that would end their lives. First, Cyborg sees a puma, and thinking that's his best friend, he tries to approach. Except it was a real puma, and so he gets beat up. Then comes Robin's turn, who is too overconfident in his skills to climb up the volcano, but in the end, his expertise doesn't help him at all as he fell to his death.
Then comes Raven and Starfire, who died the same way. Laser vision.
Laser what?
As you can see, Robin, rock slides are of no concern to me.
It is a really well-known fact that all volcanoes have laser vision. Obviously. And finally, Beast Boy dies the happiest way he could have wished for, realizing his dream.
Well, that was fun.
As we have seen, the deaths in this cartoon are quite violent, despite it being, well, a cartoon. But don't worry, the next one is not so explicit, although it is kinda sad.
We are talking about Super Robin, where Robin is sick of not having powers, and he convinces Raven to give him Superman-like powers. Here we see Robin's life with his new abilities.
The Titans split up because Robin ended all crime. He got a boring job, and they show us he had a sad, lonely life, until we see the worst part. The end.
See? Told you so. Curse.
Let's jump to the episode Salty Cutgers. We're not sure if this counts as a death because of what happens later, but we'll let you be the judge of that.
In this episode, Mad Mod steals Starfire, Robin, Beast Boy, and Cyborg's youth, turning them into Raven's favorite people, old people. So, instead of helping them get their youth back, she tries to show them how cool elders can be.
As expected, what had to happen happens, and they all die of old age. But wait, here comes what makes us wonder if these deaths actually count, because Raven managed to revive them, except it doesn't really go the way she was expecting, and the Titans come back as zombies.
So, are these Titans dead or alive? Well, that's not exactly what bothers us. What is uncomfortable about this is that, Raven still tries to kiss them.
You're out of your mind, Bruce Wayne.
Up until now, we have seen Teen Titans Go handle death in a very realistic way, like dying of age or falling. But let's not forget this is a cartoon, and a very absurd one too, and as such, it has some ridiculous deaths. For example, death by bad smell.
This happens in Hot Garbage, where the Titans try to have Beast Boy clean up the trash in his room because it has made it impossible to breathe inside the tower. The scene where the Titans die in this episode is quite curious, since unlike the deaths we've mentioned previously, the Titans actually die at the beginning, and they do it fighting the bad stench.
We all have heard somebody say that things used to be better before, and sometimes we would say they are right. However, some things have gotten better with time, like life expectancy, as we can heal from things like the flu easily, but in ancient times this could be fatal.
And that's the kind of sickness we will talk about now. In the episode Oregon Trail, we see the Titans fall one by one from illnesses they got from Oregon in the 19th century.
The first one to die is Beast Boy, who passes away from a snake bite that gave him dysentery, basically diarrhea with blood.
Then it's Starfire's turn, who, unlike the Titans, doesn't get sick, but she does get an ugly death, completely frozen. And so the Titans died one by one, Raven from measles, Cyborg from a cold, and finally Robin dies just like Beast Boy. Bloody poop.
There are many ways to die. You can burn, drown, be poisoned, wounded, get sick, or many more things. Actually, in reality, we are very fragile. But can you imagine dying by being erased from existence? We'll see something like that in Quantum Fun.
In this episode, Robin takes the Titans to a trip into the magical world of quantum physics, a world that them and even we will never understand.
Anyway, at some point, the Titans are surrounded by other versions of them from alternate realities, so they take them down one by one, until they find the last group of impostors. Here, something completely unexpected happens, and in a quick moment, the Titans disappear completely from existence.
He's being measured, fools!
And of course, Beast Boy had already died in this episode earlier from the Schrödinger's cat experiment.
Yes, science!
It's very common in the superhero world to hear that, despite all their powers, they must have at least one weakness. The most well-known example is Superman, who despite being the most powerful man in Metropolis, can be defeated by a single green rock.
But what about the heroes with no powers like Robin? Well, this might surprise you, but it turns out Robin's weakness is the same as Superman's: kryptonite.
We see this in the episode Kryptonite, where Robin explains how knowing your weakness turns you into a better superhero, so Starfire tries to find hers. It's in the final scene where we see what we mentioned. We witness how a piece of kryptonite falls on Robin and it ends his life.
Guys, wait up!
Too bad that's enough to defeat Robin. They don't make them as strong as before.
Let's jump to the episode BB Ray Birthday. Here, Raven's birthday is the same as Beast Boy, and we make a trip to Azeroth to celebrate her sinister 16th.
In this episode, we see some deaths which are kinda sad when put into their context. But before we get to them, let's talk about Robin's death. Yes, Robin is the Titan who dies the most in the show.
What an idiot! Oh, what a loser!
When the Titans travel to Azeroth, they see various characters, and one of them is Grim. Well, it's actually just Death. As we know, Death's job is to take people with her when their time comes, and it looks like it was Robin's time for the 1000th time.
Well, actually he's revived later and everything continues as normal. It's at the end when we get to the saddest deaths in this list, as Raven shows her demonic side as she starts to eat everyone in her party with no mercy, including, of course, her friends.
Why? Why?
It's true that the Titans have died multiple times and in a lot of ways, but you know what? There's something very important we're not talking about, because we haven't discussed Beast Boy's individual deaths, and we think it's worth mentioning because he has one of the most impactful deaths in the show.
This happens in the episode Nature, where Beast Boy loses his ability to turn into animals because he has lost contact with his wild side. So he goes to the forest to get in touch with his animal side, but Mother Nature isn't as kind as he remembered. He eventually recovers his powers at the end of the episode, as Beast Boy turns into a butterfly and, well, you watch it.
That's what I'm talking about! Protein!
Let's jump into one of the most curious deaths of the Titans, not because of the cause, which was pretty normal for them, but because who caused their death.
This was in the episode Ghost with the Most, where the Titans turned to someone after the Halloween spirit was stolen, so when that someone appears, he tells them that to get what they want, they have to die.
Enough mystery. Let's find out who's responsible for the death of the Titans this time, and that is Beetlejuice. That's right, kids! Somehow, Beetlejuice is the cause of the Titan's death, and he even does it with a big, edgy axe.
Jesus, Parker, you are a freak.
One of the worst things from our world are parasites, small creatures who enter your body and that can cause countless things, like long-lasting diarrhea, abdominal pain, blood or muck and feces, nausea, puking, gases, fever, and much more.
Now, if this can be caused by a simple intestinal parasite, imagine having a Cyronilian chrysalis either. This is what happened to Starfire in the episode Parasite, where this bug gets into her body, proving to be fatal for the Titans. It turns out the parasite grows so much it eventually escapes Starfire's body, becoming a big monster, and then...
I think all of us have wondered at one point what's the worst way to die, and most likely you may have imagined being born alive or drowning, mostly because they are slow and painful, and we hope none of you have to ever go through something like that.
We can say the same for Robin, as in the episode Real Magic, he falls victim to one of these gruesome deaths. In this episode, Robin is mesmerized by Mumbo Jumbo's tricks, so he tries to learn magic.
However, when he tries the famous water tank escape trick, he realizes how dangerous these acts really are, because he wasn't able to escape and he slowly dies from lack of oxygen.
We have seen one of the Titans can be responsible for the death of her friends, but did you know that wasn't the only time that happened? In reality, Raven is not the only villain here, as in another episode, the perpetrator of their deaths is none other than Starfire.
This happens in Starfire the Terrible, where we see Starfire go evil and commit atrocities like throwing Cyborg, Raven and Beast Boy into a pit full of robot piranhas.
Before our last death, let's go back to Beast Boy. Just like when he became a butterfly, this one is quite heavy. We see this in the episode Nose Mouth, where Raven is pressured by her peers to solve everything in the tower with her spells, and then Beast Boy is turned into a balloon. Well, we know what happens when you prick a balloon. Yeah, just like that.
To finish this video, we had what we believe is the worst death in the show, even worse than Robin drowning.
This happens in I Am Chair. Here, massaging chairs take over the Titans and turn them into their slaves. The worst part isn't the fact that they were defeated by chairs, but it was due to the lack of food and water that they died. And worst of all, the Titans weren't the only victims, as by the end, the entire city is filled with skeletons sitting on massaging chairs.
If you like this video, please give it a like and watch this other video that we think you'll like. We love you. Bye!